when I got hired, I was like, "Acha, inke to creators बिल्कुल ही अलग है." Pakistan is, I think it's going to take another 20 years for them to get there.
I think since a family business is also quite well established, you don't want to instantly come on top of people as well over here. People have been working for
No,
years.
my grandfather does not work like that. One day, I don't know what it was. I think I had my hair tied up as a high top pony or something, and whichever client was there was from the outskirts of Lahore, and they weren't used to that look, right? And they just looked at me and they're like, "Hame nahi karna, yahan se order."
Hi guys, welcome back to Happa After 5. I'm your host Umar Jalani, founder and creative director at Happa Studios. I'm looking forward to host today's episode. We have a fantastic guest with us, Mr. Imran Salman Zia, a creative mastermind who's pretty much done it all, from directing iconic fashion shows like PFDC Sunsilk and Fashion Parade New York, which he did remotely, which is incredible, to leading the creative vision at Lajwanti. Imran's career spans fashion, design, PR, and even his own passion projects like illustration and animation. Whether it's working for huge campaigns or big labels or creating his own stunning visuals, this guy definitely knows how to bring a vision to life. Welcome, Imran. Thank you for coming over.
Hi, it's nice to be here. Thank you.
You also led the creative force for an Italian clothing brand. Tell me, how does that role differ from working in Pakistan, and how were you able to manage it from here?
Dude, there's a huge difference in what they want there and what the industry wants here, right? So that was a major adaptation. Like when I got hired, I was like, "Acha, inke to creators बिल्कुल ही अलग है." Pakistan is, I think it's going to take another 20 years for them to get there, right?
Like, what's the major difference that you felt?
Well, specifically, I feel like this brand, it goes by the name of Gohar Ali, and it caters to a niche, which is ravers. So it makes rave wear, but luxury rave wear, which is obviously it has t-shirts at a very high price, but really good quality and everything. And फिर वही वाली चीज़ ना, इधर आप इन्फ्लुएंसर को टारगेट करते हो कि इन्फ्लुएंसर्स आपने कपड़े पहनवा लिए, उधर फिर आपको obviously because that's a niche, then you're only catering to DJs. You're making DJs wear them. You're making if you're looking for a film feature, it has to be something super sci-fi, right?
Does it cater to overall like house music, or do you also cater to like specific genres within the rave community?
I mean, yeah, like techno house, deep house.
Right. So,
I'm not.
so the designs vary a lot within
Yeah,
the.
and okay, so I'll tell you something. It's very interesting that all the patterns that are on the clothes are devised from the natural habitat, yes, but shapes that you find in the natural habitat that somehow mimic what is it called? You know how when you have like a metal disc and you put sand on it and you let musical vibrations run
Right,
through
they
it?
have all these
So the patterns that form
patterns
on that,
visually.
yeah,
Oh, fantastic.
that's what's incorporated into that, but kept very faded so as to have a dialogue on the fact that music is almost very ephemeral, that you hear it and it's gone, right? So the same way the prints aren't very, in the sense कि बहुत ज़्यादा उबड़ के नहीं नज़र आ रहे होते, तो बहुत subdued होते हैं.
So you do the silver?
I mean, we had a very interesting shoot for this brand. It was done in a paper factory. Luckily, me and Iman were the models, Iman Suleiman. And the whole idea was to get somehow a little inebriated before you get on set. Now, you wouldn't find that in Pakistan because it was for ravers, right? So the lighting was kept as such. The ambience was completely like you're walking into a warehouse, right? You had these neon colors on. You had a lot of like purple and green makeup. And then it was like a dance party, but with like two people.
This is really interesting. I want to talk more about this Italian clothing brand. So what kind of a line did you create for them mostly?
I didn't create the line. So the designer herself, she created it. It was called At Leisure. And then there's one called Raver Chic, which
Right.
is really, really
Raver
interesting.
chic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. I'm going to share photos with you when I can.
Please.
Apart from that, yeah, it's been a journey. I mean, I've been with them since November, so not that long, but long enough for sure to sort of adapt myself to a completely different creative vision, right? And obviously, then there's the language barrier.
Right. And for you, fashion art direction is not all that you're doing. There's also Vermilion Vault.
Yeah,
Right.
that's my illustration and animation page.
Right. And so are you active on that? Do you get work from that as well?
I have gotten a few projects from there. There was this one project that I did with there was this really nice cookie brand here that went by the name of Zaza.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it
Yeah. I've heard of it.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
such good
Ah,
cookies.
fantastic.
And we did a Valentine's edition for them, which was called the Love Potion, which had all red velvet cookies. But if you look at the animation, it has to do with like the sole ingredient being like this massive heart that's held up by, but like a human heart, not like a.
And you're quite a maximalist in your illustration as well.
Yes.
Right.
If I'm not, that picture looks incomplete. I'm like, इसमें
Right.
कुछ भी नहीं है.
So,
नहीं मजा आ
what do you
रहा.
think of minimal illustrators? What do you do? Are you able to relate to them, or
I mean, I can
it's just-
appreciate
Right.
minimal art,
right?
right? Even if I go into a gallery, I can appreciate it. I'll be like, okay, great, very nice, right? But then, would I put it in my house? Never, right? Never. I don't even. Thoda sa, like I went to an NC exhibition once, and they had this massive canvas. It was huge, okay? और उसके कोने में ना एक नुक्ता था.
Does it work? What's going on? Does it get overpowering being digging maximalism more? Does it get like, do you need some space or you're comfortable in that environment?
I'm comfortable. That's second nature to me.
Right.
I don't
Right.
have to think about it. I know what I'm putting in.
Like it makes you feel cozy and
It makes you feel very
warm.
cozy.
And,
Yeah. So,
yes.
like when
Yeah.
you think of like old houses in Lahore, you know that they're completely stuffed with a lot of antiques, a lot of things that people have shopped for abroad and they've come and, made little cozy individual corners for all of these things. When you look at minimalism, I'm like, this is a home.
Yeah.
Like it's a house, but it ain't a home.
I mean, they're obviously two completely mindsets, right? For the minimalist, he's thinking peace, calm, less is more, and I don't need all this stuff to clutter my room. And for the maximalist, he's thinking the
More
complete
is
opposite.
more.
Yes,
100.
more is not enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, what's a skill and side hustle you have that most people don't know about you? I know that there is the real estate aspect which you're working on. So I can indulge you in that for a bit. Can you tell us a bit more about the apartment buildings and what else
Yeah,
you're
so
up to?
that's something I hardly ever talk about, right? But I think I should start talking about it a bit
Let's do
more.
it.
So
Let's sell some apartments.
yeah, so the family business essentially is real estate and construction, but like luxury apartments. So I don't know if you've seen, so right next to Q Cinema, we have an apartment building that goes by the name of Sterling Residences, right? Over there, my key role is as a landscape designer, right? But I don't focus on landscape as just being like a culmination of plants that you've put together and you're like, oh, great, these look really nice. It goes a little deeper than that. Again, the maximalist soch comes in, right? Where I'm like, okay, I want to treat that landscape as a living, breathing organism, right? So, for instance, smallest example, if you look at a ladybird, right? You plant a bit of mint, they attract ladybugs, right? Right? They attract ladybugs. So that contrast of very still, beautiful greens with these little red specks that are just in constant motion is beautiful, right? But then also say you have larger plantation behind the mint, which is like maybe your amalthus trees or your ferns and your so and so forth. But uske andar ye hota hai ki there's a specific bug called an aphid. And an aphid feeds on sap that comes out of different plants. And it automatically starts killing the plant. And it's a pest, obviously, but they're super tiny, you can't see them, right? The one plant that will repel, or two plants that will repel an aphid, is the onion plant or a garlic plant, but those will stink. Why have those in your landscape, right? A ladybug, by instinct, is an aphid killer, right? It will kill the aphid, right? But will also then pollinate plants like, so there's this species of wildflower, it's called the cosmos, right? You have the cosmos, then you have like plants like sunflowers or dandelions. They pollinate those plants.
Oh, okay.
So like
So interesting.
it's
So there's a whole
essentially,
ecosystem
हाँ
which you
exactly,
need to kind of bring in
एब्सोल्युटली। तो
inside.
आपने essentially एक पूरा लैंडस्केप सेट कर दिया है, लेकिन आपने उसके अंदर छोटे छोटे फार्मर्स छोड़ दिए हैं, which really
Oh
depends.
wow, that is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, so I was like, why
Zabardast.
not do something that's a little different
Yeah,
to
and
what?
I mean, I started putting a snake plant in my room, and it has overall improved the quality of my room. In terms of my sleep is better, and I know that because I took it out, and they are huge snake plants. Like they've been growing for like 5, 6, 7 years, so they're big. So they really kind of work overnight. And I took them out, and I just didn't have the same quality of sleep. So that is amazing.
The snake plant is called the stepmother's tongue, right?
Yes,
If I'm
that
not
is.
wrong. Such a funny
That
name.
is, I mean, I think ये पाकिस्तान में ही रखा होगा लोगों ने नाम इसका.
इधर ही रखा होगा. But बिल्लियां तो
This
नहीं
can't
है
be a
ना? You don't
Western.
have cats, right?
I do have one cat, but my son was allergic to it, so we had to kick him out,
Okay,
bichara.
that's great, because that
Yes.
snake plant would have killed your cat. They're
Ah,
poisonous to
really?
cats.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because some cats for
Oh, I didn't know
digestion
that.
like to feed on plants.
Right.
So if they feed on a snake plant, it's instant poison.
Really?
Yeah.
Never knew that.
Good, you don't have one.
Also, yeah. Also, I think one of my cat might have died because of that.
Okay. Well, there's your answer.
So you want to talk more about the apartment buildings? I mean, so you the landscape artist for that. Do you also bring in plants and small sort of cactuses or whatever you want to do within the rooms as well, or
No,
is
so
it all
for
outside?
so for right now, the project, at least for Sterling, we haven't really focused on landscape that way. Over there, my input had to do more with interior design, right? So my popo was the lead in terms of interiors, and I was assisting her, right? I had just joined in. Also because initially, like I said, when I joined Zara Shah Jahan right out of university, होता है ना फैमिली बिजनेसेस का यहाँ पे कि आपका अगर है तो आप यूनिवर्सिटी से निकलो, आप सीधा उसमें घुसो, right? मैं तो भाग गया. मैंने कहा कि नहीं, अभी तो मैंने अपना एक्सप्लोरेशन करनी है before I get tied down to this. Especially, I also feel like it's very important, like, you do a bit of field work that is independent to your family business, and then you come back stronger instead of just getting into it, right?
I agree absolutely, and I think since the family business is also quite well established, you don't want to um, instantly come on top of people as well over here. People have been working for
No, my
years,
grandfather does not work like that. So where in different companies that be like कि नहीं, अच्छा ठीक है, अब आपकी ये पोस्ट है, आपने इन सबको मैनेज करना है. He will expect you to work your way up.
But of course, exactly.
Which is the best
I
thing
mean,
to
that
do.
is that's the best thing you can do for a person as well, instead of giving that privilege,
Absolutely.
which is not qualified for.
100%.
So, if you could rewrite the rules of the industry generally in Pakistan in terms of all which you do, what would you like people to kind of change, especially in Lahore, how we usually work, and this could be anything in terms of business, in terms of hiring people, in terms of how people get along with each other in the studio. What do you think really needs to be addressed in the Pakistan scene? I know there's a lot.
Had you
but
asked me this question, say like 10, 11 years ago, I'd have a very solid answer because I always stuck by that. वो अब बदल गया आके, शुक्र है, right? वो ये था कि especially in the fashion industry or even the film industry, you had a set number of models or a set number of actors and actresses who were also, obviously, as time goes by, you do age, right? But they had a mafia, as you would put it, and no fresh blood would be allowed to enter, right? Or even if they are entering, they're entering on a conditions I don't really want to quote here, but
yeah,
भुला
so
दिया. But basically,
so there's not that much there's more democracy right now.
हाँ. I also feel like with a lot of, generally, like the newer generation has a bigger voice. They have more exposure, more than any of us had when we were growing
So
up.
the new generation which is coming in it might be modeling or fashion designing or whatever creative field they're choosing to be. I feel personally, and this has been an experience with my company, that they are not ready for the business side of fashion or the creative side, how to run the business side. Is that something which you think needs to be worked on more?
No, I think they're very in tune with the fact that they want to make money.
Right. No, that is true. They
and they're
want to make
making
money,
money.
but how to go about making money is something I feel. I personally feel that. Do you have this problem?
I feel like एक point से हो सकता है, not entirely. Um, Essentially they're selling their voices, they're selling their entire persona as, कि अच्छा ठीक है, we're going to influence, we're going to, in one way or the other, they may be a singer, they may be an artist, or just somebody who's doing comedy and they do really well just making money off of that, because obviously the Instagram game is too strong now, right? And everyone is using that as a source to make money. But yes, maybe you're right. When it comes to the business aspect, people have become more sensitive. If you're coming into business, it's very easy to tick them off.
Right, right. And that's my last question for today, is that how much of your interpersonal skills are required? How much do you need to be able to get along with people or be nice or be professional in terms of your communication overall to be successful in this industry?
Omar, to put it out there very honestly, the way I'm sitting in front of you, that's the way I am at work. That's how I am at home, right? It's
You must be a blast to be around with.
huh?
You must be a blast to have around.
That's very kind of you. But I feel like the more candid that you keep it, and I mean I can see that with you and your team as well, right? The more that you sort of kill that hierarchy, the better a person performs. But I feel like you also have to be smart on that front. Like you give, but you don't give too much. You give too much, you can be overridden, you can be, taken for granted.
Hmm.
And
I mean, that's a being taken for granted is a huge problem in Pakistan, right?
I think it's a huge problem everywhere.
Right, everywhere, I
Over here
guess.
to
Yes.
100%, 200%.
Right. So it's a very delicate balance then, I
Yeah,
guess.
absolutely.
But generally, do you think people need to kind of polish their speaking skills and how they're able to get their message across rather than either being sounding too aggressive or passive or so on?
That is one thing, yes. 100. Like, for instance, if again now if we look at your work hierarchy, say let's take you for example. You've conveyed a message out of frustration to one of your managers, okay? I'm frustrated at so and so team, right? And this is what's bothering me. Now, the way that that manager conveys it to your team is key, right? So, if they convey it the way that you have conveyed it to them, your team is going to run away,
Absolutely.
right? But if they're not, अब वो अपने तौर तरीके से बस उस मैसेज को दिल खोल के बहुत तमीज़ से आगे पेश किया जाए तो फिर तो वो मसला नहीं होगा ना.
True. I mean that's a very important point. So that means that you need to hire specific people for certain sort of communication skills, right? I I personally don't have um, इतनी अच्छी आदतें when it comes to my team. But then again, I have a fantastic team who do all the work which I'm not capable of doing, and uh, it's really helped my business personally as well if I'm not constantly being pushed into areas where I'm not good at. Um, you know, so fantastic. I mean, I think that's a very good important point. If you can't talk yourself, hire someone who can do that for you.
Absolutely. नहीं, but I also feel like generally हर किसी को वो frustration feel हो सकती है. I could feel it, right? And I could be abusing the crap out of anybody, right? And I would then not also, और अगर किसी की तरफ directed है, जिसने वो message convey करना है, I wouldn't want them to say it the same way I've said it, because then I'd be like, oh my God, I hurt someone unnecessarily. And I don't want that on myself, right? I'm known to be a person who does not do that.
So, how diplomatic do you have to be with your own clients at Lajwanti? Yeah, in terms of their, if you've designed something and they're asking for something, do you tell them that this is not what's going to work for you?
With the clients. I don't have to deal with the clients. There was a time that I dealt with one client. I remember they asked me, "Okay, oh Imran, the salesperson isn't here. Maybe you can have a conversation with the client." And I was like, "Don't do that to me, because I can speak to them, but I can't sell your bridal. I don't want to do that." Eventually, the client came, and I remember that one day, I don't know what it was. I think I had my hair tied up as a high top pony or something, and whichever client was there was from the outskirts of Lahore, and they weren't used to that look, right? And they just looked at me and they're like, "Hame nahi karna, yahan se order." And I was like, "You can't put me in this position like ever again. Like, no, thank you."
Well, Imran, thank you. It's been an incredible conversation. Thank you for sharing your insights and experiences with me. It's clear you bring so much passion and creativity to everything you touch. We're excited to see where you go next and what amazing projects are coming your way. I thank you again for coming. And that's it, folks.